Good afternoon, Jason. Sir, how are you?
How you doing, Coach Anthony Alfaro, coach of the Lady Redhawks?
We actually finished tied for the regular season champs in the conference, and we made it to the quarterfinals of the region.
How do you feel ending the season as regular season champs?
It was bittersweet. We had some academic woes in the second half of the season, which caused the numbers of the roster to decrease. And in the end, that probably was the biggest challenge we had in the second half. So the championship, or the regular season championship that we had tied for, was a nice feat at the time when it happened. But if I had to do it all over again, I would give that back to keep the girls eligible to play.
So how you expect to improve in the aspect of keeping all the players eligible for next season?
Well, we're bringing back 2 or 3 players right now, for sure. And the rest of them are going to be recruits, so our recruiting process has definitely been a different approach. We're approaching the recruiting process a little more on the academic lines. This Suffolk Community College, and they were a tough team this year. They were a very well balanced team, one of the best teams in the region, probably the top 2 teams in the region. We battled them well. Because of our lack of numbers, it hurt us in the second half. I believe the final score reflected that. We were close. We kept it within 6, 8. We were very close the whole game, but it was very exciting for the girls to be part of that.
What was the best part of the season for you?
The best part of the season. The best part of the season was our game against BMCC at BMCC. We only had 5 players going into the game. That was one of our first games that the roster had decreased. And one of our players fouled out with 18 minutes and about 40 seconds left in the game. So we ended up playing 5-on-4, and we ended up winning. The girls actually came together. They did everything that was expected of them, and then some. So that was probably the highlight of the season.
What was your favorite part of the season?
My favorite part of the season was when we played at BMCC at their home, and we only had 5 players at the time, and one of our players fouled out in the second half with 18 minutes to go, and we had to only play with 4 people. Even at the time, we had to play with 3 people, and we beat BMCC, so I could say that was the greatest time I had this season.
What is success to you?
Success falls in a couple of different ways. Obviously, the academic part, is key because they need to remain eligible to play. The maturity level of the players from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, when that maturity level starts to change them as a person, and they become a little bit more in tune to what their responsibilities are, that's success. Obviously, them getting stronger and playing better, that's also success. It's not just about the winning. If everybody does their job, coaches, players, success is going to follow.
This past season you had 4 non-negotiable mottos.
Yes.
There's effort, attitude, playing hard, treatment of others. Is that going to be your motto for next year too?
Sure. I think the core values of your team has to remain the same from year to year. What your thought process is for your team, and how you want that to follow in line, especially in the college. So those 4 core values are going to be in place again this season.
Why those 4 core values?
Well, those 4 core values don't always involve just the basketball side of it. So it's really 2-sided. Sports emulates life. So if you look at it, you take number 1, which is effort. When you put maximum effort into anything that you do, always good results happen at the end. Attitude. If your attitude is always very positive, and you're always able to brush away something that happened that was wrong or didn't happen exactly the way you wanted to, your good attitude turns that around. So that's sports and in life, that goes both ways. Playing hard, going hard is the same thing, in line for the first two, as it is in life, You want something, you need to go harder than everybody else, because what's going to make you stand out? What's going to make you stand out is how you go at something, how you attack it, and playing as hard as you can. And then the last one, which is treatment of others. You could be the best basketball player, you could be the smartest student, but if you don't know how to interact with your teammates, with your coaches, with adults in general, with the general population of the school, with administrators, with maintenance people, with anybody in life, you need to treat everybody the same and with respect. And in turn, they're going to treat you back with respect.
You coach, LaGuardia has a basketball team for 2 years now. How was the first year of coaching compared to the second year of coaching?
The first year of coaching, obviously, because the program wasn't in existence, we took the approach that we wanted to take as many players as we can, and didn't always look at the total package of the person. We basically would just, we were being picky, but in reality we weren't being that picky. And I think that looking back on the first year, we had a lot of talent on the team, but as a coaching staff, we didn't handle that talent correctly. Going into year two, we decided to try to go a different route, and even though our numbers were low, it didn't really reflect what we did in recruiting, because we were 13 players going into the beginning of the season. We ended up having 2 players just completely fall off the map.
What do you mean?
They decided not to play basketball anymore.
Oh,
They just decided not to play. They were in the school, registered, going to class. They decided not to play. So that knocked them right off. And then we had another player whose eligibility was in question, needed some paperwork that they couldn't produce, and that happened. And so from there, the numbers went from 13, which is a manageable number, I feel, and then it went down to 10. So I thought we did a better job recruiting in the second year. I thought we had some better personalities, but with all the turmoil of the roster not being set and people falling off for no particular reason, kind of made the beginning of the season a little bit of a seesaw. So it was tough.
So what can you expect from season 3?
Well, if you want to look at numbers, you look at just within our conference. So the first year in existence, LaGuardia Community College finished second in the CUNY conference. In its second season, LaGuardia finished tied for the regular season champions, having the best record. We were 8-2, and we were tied with Queensborough Community College being 8-2. So now going into year 3, if we're looking about numbers, obviously we want to go in and we want to win outright the CUNY conference. And then when the CUNY championship start off, we'd like to get to the CUNY championship game and win there. And so that's on the numbers side. Then go to the regionals and do well in the regionals and possibly move on to the national level of the NJCAA. In the reality side of it, in the personal side of it, we would like to see the girls stay eligible academically. We've put some things in place that's going to definitely help us. Those issues, there was a lot of blindness going on. We couldn't see things. We weren't allowed access to see certain things going on academically, which now we are. And so we have more involvement, which is going to help us. So what we see for season 3 is going to be academic improvement, GPA improvement, a better character of the team player, as I like to call it. The team play doesn't necessarily mean one particular person. It's the image of what we're trying to portray as a team. So when they see a LaGuardia Lady Redhawk walking down the hallway, they now know this is what they're bringing to the school.
Have you recruited any players yet?
Yes, we've been hot on the recruiting trail. As you see behind us, the names of players we've been recruiting. We've had some workouts, we've had some open gyms, we've had them down. We signed a couple of players already. But really the roster doesn't start taking true form until probably the end of this month in May. And then even through the summertime, we're still recruiting. There's always that player at the end, someplace that's in the summertime that didn't get an offer that they wanted. So, no, we definitely have been on that recruiting trail since late January.
As a coach, do you feel like the women look up to you as there's something else besides a coach, like guidance?
What I try to portray to them is, this type of analogy. If you smoke and you have children, how can you tell your children not to smoke if you're doing the smoking? So what we want to bring to the table as coaching staff is we want to do the things that we expect you to do. We're going to do the things that we expect you to do as players, which is working hard, which is being responsible, which is being on time, which is being good teammates, which is being a good listener. All the things that we believe are going to be a successful recipe.
Describe the play and how they have improved for each player, and just talk about them and see how you think they did, how they will improve in the future. Let's talk about Kristen Deer. So,
Kristen Deer probably was if not the hardest worker, was definitely one of the hardest workers we've had for the 2 years. When she comes to practice or when she comes to the game, it's just all about working hard for her. And I think that she has matured in these 2 years, and as a young lady ready to move on to another college and go shoot for her goals academically, and I think that she's made some tremendous steps going in that direction.
Kaylin Richburg.
Kaylin Richburg. Kaylin Richburg, she was a real model person, to say the least. Academically was our strongest girl. She was a CUNY Scholar Athlete.
But she won up for MVP this year, correct?
I don't know how the voting went. They didn't really give us any type of. But she was in the
CUNY championship. They mentioned who won the MVP, and then Kaylin Richburg was mentioned as well as a runner-up.
She was right. Honorable mention. She made it to the All CUNY team for the championship. Yes. Kaylin, not everybody realizes this, but Kaylin played most of the season injured, and that hindered her game somewhat. And so, as much success as you saw Kaylin have, the sky's the limit for Kaylin if she comes into this season, which she has already been training to get herself into shape. If she comes into this season in the shape that she wants to be in, and we know that she can be in, the sky is definitely the limit for Kaylin. There'll be a long list of colleges chomping at the bit to get her to go to their college.
Sarah Edwards, what can you say about her?
Sarah Edwards came into the program very young-minded, and she's another one that would come to practice and was an extremely hard worker. Whether she was tired or in pain or hungry or whatever the case was, when it came down to doing what she had to do, Sarah was an extremely focused, hard-working player. When I said young-minded, what I meant was she came in still with that high school mentality. And so that maturity level for her took on its own form in the second half of the season. When everybody went down and the roster shrunk, she definitely stepped up. I think she played the most minutes out of anybody on the team and never was looking to come out. And no matter how tired she was, you saw her out there at the 39-minute mark of the game with a minute left to play. You did not know that it was the 39-minute mark. She is definitely up to game, and with the hard work that she's putting in the off season now, I envision the same thing for her, that in the off season she's going to change her body. Her physicality is going to be a big difference from where it was. And when we start the season off, she's also another one that's going to have a long list of colleges chomping at the bit to get her to be on their roster.
So you expect a big year from her next year?
Sarah and Kaylin, yes, I expected it. They stepped up immediately from the day the season ended, from the day we lost at Suffolk County. The next day they were ready to go to work. You know, they didn't want to have happen what happened to us at the end of the season, and they were part of. They have been a part of our recruiting process, recruiting players with us, telling the players where it's at academically, hard work. You know, this is what we do here. You know, we don't allow people to fall off. So the two of them, I expect big things from this season.
So they're gonna be starting. They're gonna be one of your 2 year starting five.
You know, we play such a high-paced game that I don't think it's necessarily who starts. Even though, you know, obviously our hope is for them to be 2 starters because they're going to be 2 leaders. It's about minutes. It's really about your minutes, and that's all. Those minutes become attainable by how hard you work, and how you're leading yourself, so you can begin to lead your team. So it's really about the playing minutes. You know, you'll see in the season, if you look in the box, it's a tough score to keep because we don't have anybody really running the time down, but you don't have to be a starter to log the most minutes, you know, so it's really going to be about minutes logged.
What about Lisanne Abel? What can you talk about her?
Lisanne has the body type to be a dominant scorer. She has to get her mind right to become that player, and which she could become. I think she has a lot of things getting her way, which holds her back, but she definitely has the ability to get there. She just has to find a way to bring it out now. So I think that this off season is going to be a lot of eye-opening for her, and another one that's looking to change her physicality. And I think at the end of the day, I think that her improving on her strength is going to help her take her game to another level next year.
What can you do to help her improve?
It really it's going to be the off-season workouts, working on the little things that she needs to improve on right away, so that the bigger things come. You know, there's so many things we could talk about for a long time about the things she needs to improve on, but it's not just about that. It's about one step at a time. You know, one step, we accomplish something, move on to the next. That's about maturity too. You have to be able to accept those things. So I think she will be.
And Tanya Windley.
And Tanya Windley.
And Tanya Windley.
And Tanya Windley went from being a manager into a player, you know, and she gave us a lot of energy. She never complained. She did whatever we asked of her. And, you know, she was a big part of last season. She's, it was a big plus getting her towards the end. You know, she helped out and basically, you know, ran a lot of energy for us.
What about Jasmine Wint?
Jasmine Wint.
You gonna miss her?
Jasmine Wint. Yeah, we're going to miss Jasmine Wint, all right. Jasmine has a load of talent. Probably has the most talent of anybody on the team. But she hasn't turned that corner yet for her.
What motivates Jasmine Wint to become a better player?
I mean, my potential, trying to reach that full potential in everything that I do.
Because if she ever decides in her mind that she's going to turn that corner, she could play in a lot of places that nobody would ever believe she could play at. A lot of colleges. So we'll see how it goes. You know, her eligibility is up, and you know, she's definitely, hopefully, will be moving on after this or next semester. You know, and we wish her well.
What do you do to help your players go to another school or get recruited for another school?
Well, there's a couple of different things. You know, like in this off season, we've taken some of the players to workouts of different colleges. You know, we've called up other colleges and scheduled workouts. We've brought some of the players out there to work out. That's one thing to do, get them noticed. If they didn't get that many looks during the season because of one thing or another, we made phone calls to coaches for them, send them some tape off of our video system, and you know, help them that way.
Does the players who are not graduating and are eligible to come back next year, are they automatically a roster spot? Are they automatically on the team?
No.
Next year?
No, even if they are a leader, and they should always feel that their spot is not given to them yet. You know, and that keeps you hungry. You know, so spots are always open. We never know what's going to happen. You know, obviously our leaders coming back are key influences. So obviously Kaylin and Sarah become a big part of it because they've already turned that corner and became that person. But you know, other than that, I mean, you know, everybody is fighting for position. Lisanne Bell, obviously, you know, working the off season. She was contemplating redshirting or not playing for a season to get everything in order for herself. But other than that, it's really, and we have Marika Gordon returning, who actually didn't play last year. She went through the CUNY Start program and wasn't decided that it wasn't the best interest for her to play. And she sat out and got her academics in order, so she'll be coming back. So, you know, the real core of the team, you know, even though it's small in numbers, it's a lot of strong personalities. So the other people are going to have to work.
You have any prediction for next year?
Well, I definitely predict that we're going to be a force in the region and the CUNY conference.
We're going all the way next year. We're going all the way. CUNY conference, regionals, national. We're going all the way.
How you so sure?
Because there's no stopping us. There's no stopping us.
Next year, I'm going to be a sophomore, be at every game, and look out for us.
I believe that because of the good foundation that we have with the players that are returning, that's going to give us a big kickstart, which we haven't had in 2 seasons. Obviously, the first season was nobody returning, so everybody was new. Season 2 was a couple returning, but you know, in their makeup, their personality wasn't a leader-type personality. So they were good players, and they had different roles that they filled, but there wasn't really any leadership. But now we have leadership in place, and so I think our success is going to rely on all the hard work that the girls are going to be putting in the off season, and we have some surprise recruits coming in that are going to make us a very exciting team to watch.
Names? Who?
Well, we want to hold everything back until they're signed. You know, until they're signed, it's not, you know, it's not 100%. So you know, but when November rolls around and we begin to start playing our schedule, and I guarantee we will be an exciting team. If people thought we were an exciting team to watch last year, and some of the nail biters we had, and some of the fights we had, and you know, battles, overtimes, and you know, come from behind victories, you know, losing a lead, and this year's excitement will be at a very high level, guaranteed.
Before you started coaching LaGuardia, what did you know about LaGuardia?
Believe it or not, I grew up in Astoria, and I lived in Queens my whole life, and I didn't know much about LaGuardia. You know, now being here, I realize what a strong academic school it actually is. You know, people have the opinion that 2-year schools are not that strong, but academically. But being here now, I see how serious they are academically. There's so much supporting academic staff behind just the professors to help. There's tutoring labs, and there's just so much offered for the student athlete or the student in general. And so now I realize that anything I thought about a 2-year school before I came here has gone out the window. I realize that this is a strong academic area to be in, and I'm very happy to bring somebody in here because I know they're going to get a good education.
Okay. Thanks a lot for your time. Oh, what do you think about Jason Fernandez?
Jason Fernandez.
You've been here for 2 years, and you've been interviewed by me for 2 years. How have the interviews gone?
I remember Jason Fernandez's first approach to me was, we were in Maryland, and he took a rent-a-car and came to Maryland and interviewed us after we lost a tough game. and I remember Jason being a little nervous himself coming out there, but no, Jason has definitely turned into a very qualified, confident reporter.
All right. Thank you very much.
Oh man, these people are nuts, man. Leave me alone. know him in an interview. I know him in an interview with Jason Fernandez.